Hi, and welcome to SVG SportsTech On Demand. I'm Dan Daley, SVG's audio editor, and today we're speaking with Jason Waufle, Senior Specialist Pro Audio, Market Development and Industry Relations. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well considering the circumstances.
And where are you?
I'm actually in Nashville, Tennessee. It's where I'm based. Yeah, not
No
too far
idea.
away. Absolutely. Chicago's headquarters our headquarters are actually in Chicago, obviously, but there's a few of us sprinkled around the country. Jen's in San Francisco, Ben over in New York, and myself in Nashville to kind of help be closer to the customers.
All right. Well, Shure's all over the place, as it should be. And when I think of Shure, I think of the really iconic microphones. I think of the SM57, the SM58, both of which I own, and of course, Elvis's 55. But
Absolutely.
but Shure is a much broader company than that. We wanted to talk today a little bit about what else there is to Shure's huge inventory of products.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Especially being the sports video group target audience that we have here, I thought I'd talk about some of the products we make for that market specifically. And we'll kick it off with the VPH, which the VPH is our video production handheld. It is a long-wired, hardwired production hand mic that allows you to take any of the RBW universal capsules that we make or other manufacturers make, and essentially screw that capsule onto your stick. It's got an XLR connection on the bottom, and this basically gives you expansion of inventory in the field. Take any capsule you have in your inventory, put it onto this stick mic, and you've got a cartridge or a capsule that makes sense for your specific need at that time. So instead of being handicapped by one hand mic or one version of hand mic that you've been given in the kit or on the truck or whatever it was that was delivered to you, if you carry this, whatever came in your wireless, you can mix and match those capsules over. It's a great tool for emergency backup as well to have. It does take phantom power to operate. But it's pretty insanely easy, really. You just, screw a capsule on the top, whichever works for your inventory, plug it in, send phantom power to it, and you've got yourself a hand mic. Specifically tailored with some extra length on it for mic flags. Everybody's got to have a little bit more space there for that. So we took that into account when we made that. And there's some specifications on the screen for you to read over quickly. And then there's the list of cartridges we make. Obviously, you guys are familiar with the SM58 that you said there, and the KSM8 and KSM9, some of the higher end cartridges. All of those work with that VPH hand mic. So just a really versatile tool to keep in the bag and give yourself some flexibility and security when working out in the field. Some accessories that can come with this. There's a talk switch on the left that's just going to thread right in line between the capsule and the stick. And on the right, you see the WA653. And the WA653 is our mic flag extender product. And basically, we had a ton of feedback from the field that our wireless stick and capsule combination just didn't leave enough room for a comfortable mic flag placement. And we know in broadcast that all of the networks like to have their small or gigantic mic flags placed on the mic. So the WA653 kit gives you a little threaded collar insert, either 1 inch or 1.5 inch, that you can place in between the capsule and the stick body to give you that little bit of extra room to get your mic flag placed properly. So that's the VPH. If we're going to move on to a couple other products, if
Sure.
that's right, Dan.
Absolutely.
In the wireless realm, we have the ADX talk switches. These are wireless talk switches that are recently been released. We had them in beta testing over the last year, and now they are available to you. So these, again, this hand mic version will just thread into the collar between the capsule and the wireless stick. And this gives you a talk switch functionality for talkback IFB conversations, and really any routing you'd like. Previously in lines, our body pack version of this was just the button on the top of the body pack. And we found that didn't work very well. So we came up with this talk switch here. It's basically a little handheld remote, if you will, and you can link this to a body pack of your choice and give that to your presenter, and they can press that button in their pocket or in their hand or whatever it may be. And it's kind of a better workflow way to get yourself a talkback switch to create a second output routing. To do that routing, you can do it on the front of your Axiom digital receivers, or you can go into Wireless Workbench software and you see that mini matrix highlighted there. So we give you all of the audio outputs: XLR, tip ring sleeve, AES3, and Dante. And you can select the matrix outputs you'd like for the button to be pressed or unpressed to create a workflow for you.
Gotcha. Hey,
Yeah.
while we're talking about we're talking about some products that have been around for quite some time, but there's also another new product, or an update to it, really, the Wireless Workbench control software. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We just released a Wireless Workbench new version, and I will pull this screen back up here and kind of go over some of the new features quickly. Um, Most of the work was done in the coordination space, which I'm showing here. So the first thing you're going to notice in the top left, we've got a new scan source function. So this will give you all the scan sources you have available to you, your scan data window here. And then you can select those scans to place on the graph, as you can see there. Um, that's the first change. The next big change that you're going to see is bandwidth spacing. So if you zoom into these frequency markers I've got here, and I'll actually make this full screen. If you were to right click on these markers, you can see that I've selected the third order spacing and the bandwidth spacing, and it's going to show that as a representation on the graph like so. So if I zoom out a little bit here, we'll come to this guy, right click on that flag, show spacing, channel to channel. And now you can actually kind of visually represent what the channel to channel recommended spacing in the coordination space is. And the next kind of pretty cool thing that we did in here is create a way to view intermods. So if I get out of my full screen plot here and I come down and I say view thirds, you're going to notice that those thirds have now shown up on the space.
Mhm.
Uh, the biggest trick here is if you hit option and slide, you're going to see those move in real time. Sorry, command. If you hold command, you can see those intermods moving in real time on the graph. So if you want to place a frequency somewhere manually, you can actually visually see that channel to channel spacing, that intermod spacing, as well as the intermods themselves moving rapidly with it. So some pretty cool features that have been added in that coordination tab. Always a free download on Shure.com. Wireless Workbench. You've got some time to play with it. You should check out the new features.
Absolutely, and a great looking GUI too, I must say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, one question I've asked all your colleagues at this point is,
Yeah.
what are your clients, what are your customers saying out there? What are they talking about? What's the trends? What's on their minds right now?
It's a great question. There's been quite a few different approaches to that. First off, I think it's amazing what the industry has done as a whole in terms of reaching out educationally, trying to spend this time positively and doing things like this. You know, when you're in the field and when you're working in the ways that we were, there wasn't a lot of time for people to really dig down and learn the way that they needed to. So this might be kind of a blessing in disguise. The things that we're getting asked the most about are our webinar and conferencing products. So the Shure SM7B that I'm talking into right here is a pretty famous podcast mic and sounds great. Our MVI line is our motive line, which is all of our computer interfaces from single channel to multiple channel audio interfaces that allow you to get a higher end mic product. That's what I'm using on the end of this SM7B to get into your computer. We're seeing a lot of questions about field recording and mobile recording. So a lot of live artists are streaming stuff. So we have a MV88 Plus here, which is a stereo condenser mic with an iPhone mount and a tripod. Comes in a kit, allows you to get some better audio quality out of your iPhone with a mount. And then, you know, really sanitation procedures. And I think the industry's trying to do some tests on that internally and catch up to where we need to be and to be able to recommend those things. We're still not quite there yet on exactly what we would recommend to clean the products safely. But look, keep an eye out on our website and our channels to get you some more information on that. That's been a huge question.
Yeah, and I would imagine that's super important when you think about it, a microphone and its interface with the human voice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know ourselves and other manufacturers are really trying to figure out best practices for that and get that information to you guys for the future.
Please do, because that's super important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason, thanks for taking the time today. It was super informative and a lot of fun. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Dan. Take care, guys.